pretty much all of 2024, rumors have been ramping up that Xbox is at least considering some of their back catalog games for other platforms, meaning, of course, the PlayStation 5 and the Nintendo Switch, or even its successor. Now, this has been a very controversial topic. Not everybody agrees that this is a smart choice by Xbox, and, if they do go in this direction, there is a debate out there that this could potentially damage the Xbox brand. Well, I want to talk about that today because there really is a lot of smoke here, and there was actually a new discovery just yesterday that does indicate that, yes, Xbox is, in fact, considering porting one of their best games over to other platforms. Now, we will also talk about a major game announcement that might soon be incoming, and we'll also talk about a few other things as well, so do make sure to stay tuned for all of that, but let's just go and jump right into this. So what's happening here is that a couple of rumors popped up this week. One is that Sea of Thieves is heading over to other platforms. And while I think that that's an understandable situation, just considering it is a 6-year-old live service game, injecting more players into its community could actually extend its life for several more years, rather than just simply letting it die a slow death. I don't really think that that's a big problem, and it could actually be very beneficial for the community that still plays Sea of Thieves. However, the rumor that's really catching fire right now is that Hi-Fi Rush, a Game of the Year contender just 1 year ago, could be heading over to Nintendo and PlayStation. I mean, again, this is a game that's only a year old, but interestingly, there were some Hi-Fi Rush files that were uncovered in a data mine that does indicate that they are, in fact, considering a port. Now, there originally was some questions about the legitimacy of these files, but Tom Warren did confirm that these files are very much real. Why is everybody jumping to the conclusion, though, that this indicates that it's heading over to Nintendo and PlayStation? Well, that's because Tango Gameworks recently dropped some new t-shirt designs for Hi-Fi Rush as a part of its 1-year anniversary, and each platform has their own exclusive design. The Xbox version is green and it says Shadow Dropped. Steam says Be Positive Overwhelmingly, which is in reference to its Steam reviews that was overwhelmingly positive. And then the Epic Store version says This is Simply Epic. What's so interesting about all of this, though, is that the files that were uncovered, there's 2 mysterious designs that were never revealed. A red t-shirt that says Rock Out Anywhere, and then a blue shirt that says I'm Here Baby. Now, considering their colors, the choice of words that they went with, and the fact that they've already revealed other exclusive t-shirts, yeah, it's kind of easy to jump to the conclusion that this is for Nintendo and PlayStation. This pretty much confirms that Xbox has at least considered porting Hi-Fi Rush over to competitor platforms. But that's kind of the thing here. You can really view this in 2 different ways. One is that they're planning to announce a PlayStation and Nintendo version sometime here soon. However, on the other side of things, it is kind of strange that they didn't announce it as a part of the Hi-Fi Rush anniversary. That's when all the other t-shirt designs were revealed, and this kind of brings up an important question. Is this actually going to happen, or instead did they only consider it and now they've scrapped those plans? I mean, obviously Xbox has seen the noise online, and a lot of the Xbox community is genuinely upset over this situation, over the idea that they might port their games to other platforms. So did they see those reactions and maybe backtrack on those plans? Right now, I'd say that it's kind of up in the air because we still don't have that confirmation. But I will say this. If there is a place that they could announce this, I kind of keep an eye on the rumored Nintendo Direct. Xbox has used Nintendo Direct in the past to announce games like Ori. So if Xbox does go through with these ports, that's the place that I would kind of look at right now. But either way, this is a fascinating situation because hypothetically, if this does happen, there's a lot of nuances to a decision like this. I mean, there's an argument out there that by putting on other platforms, this could actually lead to more success for its sequel in the future. Maybe Xbox will make that exclusive, and because Nintendo fans and PlayStation fans played it, they'll be more likely to jump into the Xbox ecosystem with its sequel. At the same time, though, I do understand the pushback from the Xbox community. At the end of the day, exclusives create an identity for consoles. And even if Hi-Fi Rush isn't a AAA blockbuster that's going to sell 10 plus million units, it's still a flat out amazing game that the Xbox community is very proud of. It was in the Game of the Year discussion just last year. It's a game that Xbox fans can say, hey, this is why I invested into the Xbox ecosystem for exclusives like this. More so, there is this debate out there that this will open Pandora's box. Xbox already has a hard enough time pushing their consoles as is compared to PlayStation and Nintendo. And when you port your games over to those platforms, there's suddenly that question. Well, what else are you willing to port? Are you telling fans that they can just wait to play Xbox games on other platforms in the future? What about games like Indiana Jones? There was already a major debate about that game in the first place, and something like this could potentially open up a whole new debate. And while I don't agree that that's their plan, I think Xbox still has plenty of exclusives planned, whether that be Hellblade 2, Avowed, The Elder Scrolls 6, Fable, or the list goes on and on and on. But it is still a question that a lot of people will ask if something like this in fact happens. There's just this disconnect with Xbox and fans right now because there's not really a lot of transparency on what's happening. I mean, these rumors have been going around for, about a month now? And they've yet to deny anything. They could have easily shut this down if they wanted to, but they haven't. Now, maybe they're considering all of this, though, just because of the FTC case versus Activision Blizzard. If they port something like Hi-Fi Rush, then they can kind of throw that in the face of the FTC in court. That would majorly hurt the FTC's case. I don't know, though. I mean, there's just a lot of different angles to a story like this. You have this legal case that's ongoing. There's your Xbox fans to think about who's invested in your consoles. Then there's the business side of things and how they can maximize Hi-Fi Rush by porting it to other platforms, and that might also benefit a sequel, which will be exclusive. At the end of the day, though, and this is important to keep in mind, right now these discussions are purely hypothetical. Despite these files that are going around, technically, nothing has been confirmed yet. I think on one side, these files at the very least tells us that Xbox has considered it. But at the same time, it also doesn't necessarily confirm that they're going to go through with it. So we do still need to wait for an official announcement from Xbox, but I do want to hear y'all's thoughts about this situation. If they do go in this direction, do you think this is a smart decision by Xbox, or instead do you think that this is just flat out bad? Let me hear your thoughts in the comments below. Okay, now we do also have some other things to talk about as well, including a couple major game announcements that could actually happen relatively soon. One is for Elden Ring, the Shadow of the Erdtree. This has been in the rumor mill for a while now, but the latest discovery is quite interesting. Check this out. It was spotted that Shadow of the Erdtree received a lot of updates on Steam's backend, which includes QA release and dev release updates. So this could potentially suggest that an announcement is incoming. And what makes this even more interesting is the timing of all of this. Elden Ring's 2-year anniversary is later this month on February 25th. I mean, there were already a few rumors floating around that they might make an announcement then. There was that third-party controller that kind of suggested there could be something happening as well. Now, that doesn't mean that they'll release the expansion the exact same day. I know a lot of people are hoping for that. But maybe, at the very least, they'll announce it with a release date for later this year. Either way, though, I mean, something seems to be brewing in the background, and, speaking for myself here, I cannot wait to get more information for Shadow of the Erdtree. Elden Ring, to this day, still remains my favorite game this generation, and I'm very excited to jump back in and 100% whatever they have to offer. As for this other game, though, Star Wars Outlaws is another highly anticipated release for 2024. This could potentially be one of the biggest games all year long, just considering the weight of the Star Wars franchise, and it does look very good from what we've seen so far. Well, apparently, we might get to play this game sooner than what we realize. As we talked about yesterday, Tom Henderson, in an article, claimed that Outlaws was targeting a release for the first half of 2024. Well, in a tweet, he further clarified that by saying that they're specifically aiming for May. Now, he did note that this is Ubisoft, so we can't really rule out that it'll get some kind of delay. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with all that? That wouldn't necessarily be a big surprise. But currently, it does appear that the internal plan is for them to release it this May. Now, I've seen some people kind of speculate that it could be May 4th. That does fall on the Star Wars Day, May the 4th be with you. But looking at the calendar, that's actually very doubtful. May 4th is actually a Saturday, so that seems highly unlikely. Considering how important this game is for Ubisoft, though, if they do manage to release it this May, we should get some kind of an official announcement relatively soon. I almost kind of wonder if they'll have some kind of Ubisoft Forward in the next month or two. And the reason I say that is not just because of this game, but also because they do have that Beyond Good and Evil remaster. That leaked out last year, and Ubisoft came out and said that they will have news for the remaster early in 2024. So there's at least 2 games right there that they could show at Ubisoft Forward. And then you might as well just go ahead and throw in your yearly Assassin's Creed as well, which this year is Code Red, the game that's set in Japan. Those 3 games alone would make for an interesting event if they decided to have one. I mean, I guess we'll see. For all we know, they could just drop a random trailer and be done with it, but it definitely sounds like you Star Wars fans out there have a lot to look forward to. Now, one last thing I want to talk about is really just something for you to check out over the weekend. Nintendo quietly released a demo of Mario vs. Donkey Kong on the eShop. They decided to drop this around the PlayStation State of Play, and with that getting so many headlines, probably not the best idea in the world, and that's probably why it's not catching a lot of attention right now. But let's just go and change that today. This is a remake of an old Game Boy Advance game, and just considering how different it is compared to your traditional Mario game, I do understand that a lot of newcomers are maybe on the fence on whether or not they want to buy this game at full price. Nintendo is releasing it for $50 US, which isn't necessarily the typical $60 price, but it's still not exactly cheap either. I don't really know about that price personally, but this demo is a good opportunity to try it out for yourself and see if you like it. I'd personally recommend a try. I actually did have this game growing up, and I very much liked it personally. I do have some fond memories. It's just a fun puzzle game with bite-sized levels. So, if you want, maybe something fun to play over the weekend. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode. I hope everybody enjoys their weekend. Again, let me hear your thoughts about the whole Hi-Fi Rush situation. But until next time, peace out.